Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, we'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 9 of the anime series Rage of Bahamut Virgin Soul. And this episode was a thorough blast. I absolutely had a ball watching this one. It gave me everything I wanted in figuring out what exactly was going on with Favreau's having met Nina and her falling under his tutelage to become a wanted bounty hunter and all this stuff. And Favreau is a delight. I love that he's back involved in this particular story, in this universe, and his catching up with Kaiser and everything like that. There were no minced words or grudges between them. They're both between a rock and a hard place. You know, Rita's coming to the rescue by the end of the episode, which I thought was a blast. And Nina, for her part, she's having a gay old time. You know, she's pseudo writing home. We don't see her pen to paper, but internally she's thinking, you know, what she's going to be writing home, and she's talking about how much of a blast this all is. You know, she's in a great circumstance. She's got a roof over her head, and she's given her special room. You know. She gets food to eat, not enough, but food, you know, nonetheless. And she's got work. She has work that's perfectly attuned to her naturally given talents of being able to lift up so many gigantic chunks of rock and boulders, like so many bags of feathers and stuff like that. At least there's no butt rape going on. You know, I don't know about the other side with Favreau and Kaiser. That's a whole nother thing. You know, this was the female-only section of the prison. But I thought it was an absolute blast, this episode. I was laughing my ever-loving ass off with Favreau finding himself in this sort of dragonkin, you know, land, and getting sent back by one of the women who just sort of pats him, and he flies halfway across the room. You know, when he's like, oh, I've been to so many other towns, and I've seen so many women like you, and everything like that. And of course, Nina's eavesdropping over this whole affair, and just wowed by, oh, all the wealth, the riches and wealth, and the success. And I mean, you know, this is what I want for myself. This is what really imbues her with that idea. I want to be a bounty hunter. I want to live rich and fantastic like this Favreau, this guy does. And so, hey, man, take me under your tutelage. I want to be your apprentice. She keeps saying it over and over and over again, and giving Favreau a run for his money. He's like, nah, you're not strong enough. She breaks boulders in half. You know, she knocks down a giant redwood tree. He takes off running, and that's the other half of her thing. Okay, well, she has the strength. What about the speed? And she gets in front of him like 3 times. You know, he's like, well, I guess I got no choice. All right, kid, let's go. Your studies begin today. You know, and he actively, Favreau is responsibly teaching her, trying to teach her the trade, and you know, that whole deal with the whip and everything. The whip goes around the tree stump, and she yanks it out of the ground. It was a blast. And then that one point where he's in the hot spring, he's taking some time off after putting her through this aggressive, grueling, you know, tutorial of all these things she's going to have to learn to do in facing bad guys, foes that she has to bring in and everything like that. And, of course, she decides to have a break, apparently completely having missed that he's actually in the hot spring there as well. And so, of course, she's completely stark naked. She jumps into the water, and as soon as she realizes, oh, crap, he's there, because his afro's all wet, you know, as long as he's got the afro, she's not attracted to him. But without the afro, as long as it's sopping wet and it's not a giant, buoyant, you know, bunch of hair, she's suddenly smitten with him, and dragons out right there. And then we have that grand chase ensuing again. He's running for his ever-loving life. And I was wondering, actually, if he would be aware of the fact that Nina could drag him out, you know. Even though he's in the town and he's hearing, oh, these are dragon kin, and you know, she's half human, half dragon. Hearing about it is one thing, seeing it in motion is another. And I almost would have thought Favreau would think to exploit that in some way, but you know, he's not gonna be able to. She could just rip him in half, you know, without a second thought. And so he keeps true to his word. He keeps true to his promise. He's an honorable guy in that he teaches her, and he gradually graduates her, like he gives her the little arm apparatus that it denotes that she has successfully become a bounty hunter, although at the start of the series she was told that it was meaningless, it was ineffectual, it was like a faux piece, that kind of thing. But I loved it. I loved that entire situation, the entire gamut of scenes between them having first met, and his literally taking Nina under his wing and teaching her, and actually pointedly sending her toward Bacchus and the little duck and everything like that. That's why she ended up there, much true to her own word, as she spilled it out, and everyone did like spit takes when they were like, Favreau. Episodes back now. And so I loved all of that. And of course, the sort of rest of the crux of the episode is everyone getting to kind of refamiliarize themselves with each other or get to know each other. In the case of Favreau and Kaiser, they're catching each other up to speed, what Favreau, how he landed into prison. And apparently he just wandered into another town, and Cherios, I don't know whether he recognized him or sent specific guards after him for a specific purpose. But they found him drunk out of his gourd, and of course, Favreau tells Kaiser he gave the knights a pretty good fight and everything. They're just dragging his drunk body through the tavern, and they shave his head, and he's like pissed about that. They send him careening off the side of like a cliff, tied by his feet. What's the reasoning behind that? Does Cherios have that awareness of who Favreau was in the grand design, his ties maybe to Bahamut and all that kind of stuff, everything that happened in the first season? I don't know. It's anybody's guess. And but whereas they are, as I say, catching up, you then have on the other side of the aisle, back with Nina, she is meeting very much and getting close to Jeanne d'Arc. And I really loved that, because you get to see just how maternal and compassionate Jeanne d'Arc is to this complete stranger who she sees something special in Nina, and I don't think it's just like, she's being opportunistic, that she senses, oh, well, Nina has all these abilities and powers, and maybe this will be something I can exploit to get my ass the hell out of here, and the discussion about Mugato, of course, you have Nina still confusing Mugato for a girl, this asinine routine. I don't know what the point of it is, except maybe for this moment. This is probably the turning point moment that all of that was created for, that confusion of Mugato's gender on Nina's part. Everyone knows Mugato is a boy. Azazel knows it. Everybody, Bacchus and all that kind of stuff. The Heavenly Realm, who has now claimed Mugato, they all know this is a young boy. Nina's the only one who doesn't get it. And probably for this pitched moment where she's describing Mugato to Mugato's own mother, Jeanne d'Arc, and she's like, well, I got to see this kid for myself. I got to make sure we're talking about the same person here. I had a son. You're talking about a girl with similar features and everything like that. And mommy knows best. Let mommy see if this is the right child we're both talking about here. And so she's like, I got to get out. I got to find a way out. And of course, Nina's like, booyah. Let's do this, sister. But as I say, Rita is the cavalry coming over the hill, having usurped the usage temporarily, though it may have been, Bacchus's little trailer, to fly overhead, and she's coming in all, Mary Poppins with the little umbrella. And she's like, man, you guys give me all kinds of trouble. And she's like laughing about it. I love it. So this episode was a thorough blast from beginning to end. I loved it. I loved catching up with Favreau. I hope there's more to his story as far as why Cherios pointedly went after him that we'll have revealed as the episodes go on and such like that. And I just can't wait for the epic jailbreak and to see what the next penultimate step is, to see how Azazel has fared, because, right now Azazel is being held by Cherios, being tortured by him, as we saw last episode. And for what ends? When does that end? I mean, is he going to do that just until Azazel gives up and dies? I really don't know. Another great footnote was calling over, of course, to the Orleans Knights. Favreau's asking, well, since you were their leader and now you're in irons, what are they going to do about it? And Kaiser's really kind of mulling that over, like, oh man, I hope I didn't too greatly affect them. I hope I didn't poorly affect them and upset them. I hope they're not cowering somewhere, feeling depressed and with no direction in their life. They're getting drunk in a bar. And we actually get to see Cerberus is back. I was like, Cerberus, yes, the puppies are back. You know, and this one little underling is like, oh, who's going to captain us now? The only reason I even got in, you know, joined up with the Orleans Knights was Jean d'Arc, and Cerberus is like, well, why don't you be the captain? And they're all cheering him on, be the captain, be the captain. And I was dying. I was laughing my ass off, thoroughly entertained. I had a grin. I had a big, stupid, oafish grin on my face the entire length of this episode, and favorite episode thus far in the entirety of the second season. As cute and adorable as Nina has been from the word go, this episode was like that kind of humor, that kind of geniality, that kind of characterization all the way through. Our characters couldn't be in any more pitched a horrific circumstance. But they're all fine. They're all good. You know, they're all in good spirits. And this is just, they're on the precipice of something grander in that breaking beyond this prison, breaking out of it, and wherever this is going to go from that point on, you know. And so it was just a blast. I loved it. 2 thumbs up. Great time to you know, spend with these characters and refamiliarize yourselves with Favreau and everything. And I like that he's calmed down a little bit. He's dialed back from not in full form. I mean, he's still a womanizer and all this kind of stuff. He's still looking for things to exploit, and he's making up crap about how much money he's got to spend. He's got so much money he can't spend it all. He's losing ways to spend it all this stuff. Brewster's Millions over here, and completely making that crap up. Even when Nina calls him on, he's like, "Oh, did I say that? I don't even remember." So I love it. I love his personality. I love that he has dialed it back, and he's much more. We see much more the honorable Favreau where we left him at the end of the first season. He had grown and he had evolved, and he's still very much where we left him in that frame of reference. And I love that. I love that they didn't dumb him down or dial him back, make him more juvenile, infantile, and impetuous and all that kind of stuff. Even though he still has those traits, you know, that's what endears us to him, or him to us. You know, I loved it. I loved it. So I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below. If you enjoyed this episode as much as I did of Rage of Bahamut Virgin Soul episode 9, and if not, why not? Let me know in the comments below. Of course, love having that conversation. Even if our POVs happen to disagree, it's just great having a discussion about stuff that we love, like anime like this. And so yeah, otherwise, it'll be pretty much it for me on this. So this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.